Welcome back to Story Time. In this month of Ashad, on the full moon day or the Purnima, we celebrate what is possibly the greatest festival for each and every one of us, and that is the Guru Purnima. This is because we know without a teacher or guru in our lives, we cannot achieve anything, be it in our young age or in our school, right up to our last breath of our lives. And this is because whatever we learn is because of the grace of the teacher. The teacher or the guru removes the darkness of ignorance and brings the light of knowledge into our lives. And more so when the knowledge is something which is about the divine. The highest knowledge about the supreme truth is also given only by a guru. And this is how the Guru takes us from sorrow to happiness when we have the light of knowledge shining in our hearts. Today let us hear the story of the great Vedavyasa, because the day of his birth is celebrated as Vyasa Purnima or Guru Purnima. This is because we know that one of the greatest works which is read, revered, respected to this day across all ages is the Mahabharata, which was written, composed by sage Vedavyasaji. Along with Valmiki's Ramayana, Mahabharata are two great works of itihasa or history, because this is how it actually happened. The birth of sage Vedavyasaji happened under remarkable circumstances. His father was none other than the great Parashar Rishi, a Trikala Jnani, means he could see the past, present, future, and also came to know that at a particular moment, if a child would be conceived and born, he would become the greatest of all time. He would be the Amsha or a part of the Lord himself. And that is how, towards the end of Dwapara Yuga, as he was travelling across the river on a boat, he put forth the proposal to Matsyagandha, a fisherwoman who was rowing him across the river. Now Matsyagandha was so named because she would smell of fish, being born in a fisherman's community. As Matsyagandha agreed to become the mother of Parashar Rishi's child, on an island which is known as a Dweep, a little boy was born. And because he was born on an island, he was also known as Dwaipayan, and as he was dark complexioned, he was known as Krishna Dwaipayan. Being the son of Parashar Rishi, he was also known as Parasharya. This maiden Matsyagandha soon came to be known as Satyavati, and she was filled with the fragrance of beautiful sandalwood, because this was the blessing given by the Rishi in exchange for this great son that was given birth by her. Now, this little boy grew up very fast, and at a very young age, he asked his mother for permission to go out, leave the house and seek the blessings of a guru and get the highest knowledge. Now, like any mother, she refused at first because he was just a tender child. But finally she relented, and she put forth a condition that whenever she would think of him or call out to him in her mind, he would appear before her. And this is exactly what happened. As we know, Matsyagandha is none other than Satyavati, who in the Mahabharata was the wife of Shantanu and the stepmother of the great Bhishma. Whenever she was in need, she would call out to her son, and Vyasji would appear in front of her. He had a great role to play throughout the entire Mahabharata. Now, as Vyasji grew up, he got the knowledge from none other than the Sankadik brothers, the mind-born sons of Lord Brahma, and great renowned sages like Vasudeva. He became so knowledgeable and famous everywhere that he came to be known as the great Vedavyasa, because he compiled all the Vedic knowledge and classified them into the four as we know them, the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda and the Atharvana Veda. Vedas were the knowledge that was transmitted from Guru to Shishya in a tradition just by hearing and oral means. However, once when Ved Vyasji was seated on the banks of the Saraswati river, lost in meditation, he looked into the future. He could see that people in the Kali Yuga would live for shorter duration, would not have as sharp an intellect as those people of ancient times, and so the knowledge of the Vedas would be lost forever. To prevent that, he imparted the knowledge of these Vedas, one to each disciple of his. His famous 4 disciples were Paila Rishi, who was given the knowledge of the Rig Veda, Vaishampayana Rishi, who was given the knowledge of the Yajur Veda, Samaveda knowledge was imparted to Jaimini Rishi, and Sumantu Rishi was given the knowledge of Atharvana Veda. Now, the great compassionate Vyasa Muni was not satisfied with only this. So, he decided that he would compose the great Mahabharata so that all the knowledge in the Vedas would be contained in that in a poetic and story format. Now, when Veda Vyasji decided to write down the Mahabharata, he wanted to know that who would be one so capable so as to take down all the verses as he kept dictating them. And of course, there was none other than our intelligent great god Ganapati. However, Lord Ganesha put forth a condition to Veda Vyasji. He said that I will keep writing until you keep dictating. The minute you pause for a moment, I will stop writing. To this, Veda Vyasji added another condition. He said, yes, you may keep writing only when you have completely understood and comprehended what I have told. So, this was a very happy compromise. And as Veda Vyasji kept chanting out the verses of the Mahabharata, Lord Ganesha kept taking them down. Whenever Veda Vyasji needed a break or a pause, he would compose an intricate or a complicated verse. And while Lord Ganesha sat down and tried to get and understand the implied meaning of this verse, Lord Veda Vyasji could get the much needed break. And so this went on and the beautiful Mahabharata got completed. It is said that whatever knowledge is there in the world is contained within the Mahabharata. And if it is not there in the Mahabharata, it does not exist anywhere outside it. If we think that Veda Vyasji would be satisfied after having compiled the 4 Vedas and composing and getting the entire Mahabharata written, no, it was far from that. The compassionate Rishi felt that he had to do something more for the future generations. And so he wrote the Brahma Sutras. This meant that the essence of the Vedas would be now composed into crisp, short formulas or sutras which would contain the essence of the highest knowledge. Even after this was over, he was not satisfied, and so he sat and wrote all the Puranas, which were stories containing the same knowledge but in a form that could be understood by the simple-minded people of the future generations. After this, he still sat thinking. He was lost in thought because there was a certain kind of emptiness in his heart. He could not understand the reason why. He had tried to do his best, tried to share whatever knowledge that he had given it to his disciples, seen to it that it would not die out with time, but remain as the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutras. Now, as he sat thinking thus, who would come there but sage Narada? Now we know that sage Narada, with the name of Lord Narayana on his lips, can travel across the 14 worlds. And so, when Ved Vyasji saw him, he offered his respects washed his feet, and told him, "Now, O holy sage, please enter my heart and tell me what is it that makes me so sad." And sage Narada explained that, "O Vedavyasa, you have been given the name thus because you have compiled the entire Vedas, but still you have not composed anything exclusively about devotion to the Lord. Do that and you will find peace in your heart." And that is how Vedavyasji, taking the advice from sage Narada, composed the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is exclusively about the stories and glories about the Lord. And finally, he knew peace. Finally, he was filled with supreme happiness because he knew that he had done whatever that needs to be done. So, on the auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima or Vyasa Purnima, let's all bow our heads and surrender and prostrate at the feet of our Guru. Let us dedicate our lives to following his teachings, and surely his grace will fall on us. May we all be blessed with the presence of a Guru in our lives. And with his presence and his blessings, nothing is impossible. I hope you liked today's story. If you did, do share it with your family and friends. And next week I will be back with another story. Until we meet again, Hari Om.